Years ago, years ago, I was an IT guy, and what I did is one day the owner of the company came to me and says, "I need you to I need a report to show spending, how we're spending money." So what I did is I went into SQL and I wrote a routine that basically just went through the checks and based on division because there was different divisions, it would categorize every transaction that we generated a check for an item, and it had an item number, or not an item number, of description. So if you had a check that was to La 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 Company, and the category was trash or garbage removal or detention or whatever it was, it would give you an idea of what that check was for. And we had each one of our divisions had a division ID number, so it sorted it by division and by categorize, and then did summaries and stuff like that. And it would show. I'll just give you an idea. New York, and it would say trash removal for this month was $100,000. Then it would show for pencils, $3,000, water bottles, $10,000, just just to show. So after I created this report, I handed it to the owner. He looked at it, and goes, "This can't be right." One of our divisions showed that they did over $10,000 in waste removal for the month. And he called up the vice president out there and says, "Who'd you bill for this waste removal? Who paid for this?" And the guy said, "Well, we threw out skids and stuff like that, so we couldn't bill anybody." And he says, "Wait a minute. If we're taking in skids and we're going to trash them because you don't take them back, you should be billed for that." So he basically used this to go through and find all the waste spending that there was. So the report was awesome. So he went to all our divisions and fired a whole bunch of people for waste. I mean, if you're spending $5,000 a month on pencils and paper, why are you how and then you have $10,000 in waste management? I mean, don't you think that's kind of strange? But now getting to the Democrats, they're very angry. Chuck Schumer, Elizabeth Warren, Chris Van Hollen, Maxine Waters, AOC, Greg Caesar, Jared Huffman, Zoe Lofgren, and Val Hoyle, and Ruben Gallego. I could see when they say the reason that they're angry with this here is because they're afraid that Musk is getting access to tax information and stuff like that for personal gain. What would Musk need to know what I did for Social Security or what went into my bank or what came out of my bank or how much I'm paying for taxes or if I'm getting Social Security? He doesn't care about that shit. What he's looking for is waste. How how is the government wasting money? We're spending $50,000 to give condoms to people in the Middle East. Why? Don't you think that $50 million worth of man, that's a lot of money for condoms. And I'm only using that just an example, but that's a wasteful thing. Who who authorized it? Number one, who authorized that? Who set up that fund to do that? He needs to be accountable for what that was. Why did they do that? I mean, why? So I don't understand why they're these Democrats, they don't say anything about, yeah, let's get rid of this waste. They're only worried about Musk is infringing on something. Why don't why doesn't somebody look at that and why aren't they saying, I mean, if I was spending money and my wife, she went through the checking account and she said, "Jim, Why are you spending $300 a month going to the range and you're spending $1,000? Don't you think that maybe you're wasting a lot of money or going there too often? I know you want to get better, but I mean, that's a lot. And look at your pickup truck. You spent a lot of money in repairs over the last 2 months. $4,000. That's a lot of money. I would appreciate. I might not like it, especially if I can't go to the range anymore. But it's the idea that it would be nice to have somebody, my wife, to check me and say, Jim, dude, you're kind of spending a lot of money. You're buying CB radios and you're buying ham radios, and I haven't seen you on the ham radio in a while. So why are you wasting money like that? It's a good. I mean, okay, you're right, but now you went to the casino 6 times last month. You didn't win any money, and You spent $1,000. She should appreciate that. I know she might not like that, but I mean, you have to have the checks and balances. The one thing that does bother me is that Trump and Musk got this uh, DOGE going, but before DOGE was even in the picture here, you mean to tell me that nobody was in charge of watching this or saying we're spending too much money or our checking account's only got $1,000 in it and you're trying to spend $2,000? Why? Who authorized this and why are we doing? We don't have enough money to do that, honey. You know what I mean? Why wasn't that question? Isn't there a budget committee? Why ain't they looking at this and saying this this thing these payments going out and there's no authorizations on these? We don't You mean you don't need to have an authorization when you write a check? If That doesn't make sense because all the companies I've ever worked for, whenever there was going to be a payment to the garbage collector for $10,000, that check would have to get approved before the check was written. Now, I don't know if the boss just went, oh, okay, I'll sign that because there's so many checks. I don't want to look at that. But if he was looking at waste management, $10,000 for this, what? Maybe hey, hey, why is this so? But it seems like the federal government, and I know it's more complicated than just one guy writing a check, but still, who approved it? Why was it approved? And where's the accountability if there's something wrong with it? Or why is Social Security paying $150 billion to people that are dead? Like I don't know if my father's getting a check. I know he's dead. I wonder if he's voting. But that's nothing to do with this. But I just don't get these Democrats that they're angry, and it's not because I love Trump. It's about I think this is a good idea that they're going through and they're saying, dude, $50 million for condoms, and it ain't even in the United States. I don't care if the people in Gaza or the people in Africa or wherever, if they have condoms. Why do I have to, me and my wife and my friends, why do we have to pay for that? And that's just one example of some of the waste. And they're finding a lot of waste and they've just begun. It's not like they've been doing this for years and saying, well, this whole year we found $50 billion worth of waste. It's only been a week or so, and they're finding billions already, and everybody's fighting with them and making lawsuits and stuff like that, so they can't get this. They should get this information, and I'm sure the IT guy or whoever it is that's working with the with Musk team, he doesn't have access. He has read only access. When I was doing my reports in SQL, that's just a read. I didn't have no write access. I had access to where I can bring up who the check was made out to, how much, the date, and what division and what class it was. I didn't know anything else. Didn't get my boss's social security number. I didn't get the payroll or all that separate. It's not the same. It's not the same checkbook. Or and I don't believe the government would do that. I mean they're better than that. But our company payroll checking account was separate from the one that paid for receivables. So why are they angry? I get when I see this and I hear this, I'm thinking to myself, if I was Chuck Schumer, I wouldn't be as concerned about all this other stuff. I mean, I would ask the questions, but I'd be more concerned and I would be saying, yes, we need this. We need to get this waste and because he's supposed to be a representative of the people. He's not his own man here. He's Chuck Schumer or Warren. They're supposed to be representing the American people. So they're supposed to be saying American people's checking account has a problem right now. We need to find out what's going on. We need to fix this. If somebody's stealing, we need to make them accountable. But I mean, you can't just let this go. I mean, this is something that's found out, and it's going to be trillions of dollars worth of money in a short time. Look at Biden. He was paying political a lot of $8 million. Why are you paying political? This brings up a ching ching. What? Why is this a bribe for something? I'm not questioning that. But I mean, let's look at this at the right way. Let's not fight how it is. Let's make sure the rules are right, where Musk can't see certain stuff. I get that, but let's not stop this from going on. We need to fix this. We need to have the proper IT guy that has read-only access to just that information. That's going to say somebody been wasting on buying condoms, and then make the person who created that accountable. I don't think that's too much. Do you? I mean, why? I mean, let's not fight that. Let's make sure that it's safe. That Elon or anybody else can't view in and see what I have in my bank because that's personal. Taxes are personal. But we need to get this working. And maybe the Musk team ain't big enough to get it working, so we need to add people and get this done. Because we're talking billions of dollars. I mean, at least, or give me a 1 million and then I'll shut up. But if I'm not getting some of that money, I am not shutting up because you're stealing my money and all my family's money, my kids' money, and my grandkids' money. You're stealing all that, and I'm not going to let you do that. I don't want you to do that. And I'm just one taxpayer. There's 370 million taxpayers, and somebody's stealing their money. Because I'm pretty sure if we asked the 370 million people, is it okay if we give money to Gaza for condoms? I think that's going to be a big no. And I don't think there'll be anybody that's saying yeah. So let's get behind Trump. Let's get behind what Musk is achieving. But let's make sure that it's, like I said, let's make sure that it's safe. But let's get this work because we need to save this money. We need to find out if somebody's stealing it, they need to be accountable. I don't care if it's one of these senators. I don't care if it's Trump. If he's stealing from the American people, he needs to be accountable. And without running this kind of efficiency and checking on it, you're never going to know how. We're just going to let this go. I'm going to hand you my checkbook and say spend all you want. And then if I write a check and it bounces, then my check's bounced and not worried about who wrote other checks. Because evidently they're writing checks and They're not looking to see how much money that I can write, and they're just blank checking it. Condoms, 50 million. We can do this. Maybe next year it'll be 60 million. I don't want my money going there. And that's just one little small thing that needs to be fixed. So this is my opinion. I'm entitled to that, but I mean it's just something that needs to be done, and I hope it does. So thanks for listening, and this is my view. Thank you.